We are the Lit Mamas. I'm Nee,
I'm Coco.
and welcome to Mom Talk. If you're new to our channel, we'd like to take a moment to welcome you and go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. If you're returning to our channel, welcome back. It's good to see you again. Go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't yet, and hit the notification bell so you can get updated on whenever we upload new videos. Step two in our Asking for and Accepting Help series is identifying your village. So, step one in identifying your village would be to take stock of the people around you. That can include friends, family, coworkers, acquaintances. Coco, what would you consider the people you would want to take stock of around you?
So when I consider just taking stock of the people around me, first of all, it's really just identifying who's there,
Mm-hmm.
who's really willing to step up and help. So maybe if you're pregnant, there are plenty of people that always say that they want to watch the baby. So really kind of going back in your memory and figuring out who said that, who was around,
Mm-hmm.
who says that they, that they really want to go ahead and help you out and be there for you, who wants to support you. Grandparents are often a really popular one. Any siblings you may have, best friends, things like that. For me, it's my mom. My mom's my biggest help, and I think that's really common, especially for women. It's really common that your mom's willing to really step up and help. Not for everybody. I know some people have kind of strained relationships with their mom, but for me, it's my mom. She comes through in the clutch all the time for me. um
Mm-hmm.
Another person, my best friend, she's always been willing to take care of my kids. I've never really, she was younger than me, so I've never really asked for her help like that, but she's always been willing to. My brother's always been willing. Before he had his son, he was willing to help if I really needed him to help. But really the main person is my mom, and sometimes my partner's mom, his mom will step up and help as well, if she, if she's around, if she's not busy.
Okay. Yes, that's awesome. I really went, I don't want to say old school, but I just went through my contacts. The first thing I did, and I didn't go through like the actual contact list. I went through the last 2 weeks of phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
Who are in those 2 weeks of your phone calls that you have talked to? That's the first people I start with because obviously we have some type of rapport.
Right.
So that's why I start. And of course, my mom would be on that list because if I get a splinter, I'm calling that lady to be like, "What do I do?"
Right.
Like, or that one meme where they be like, it was the directions said take pills and you call your mom. How many should I take? Take two pills,
Right.
baby. Okay. That is definitely an example of a relationship me and my mom have we do have. So that's how I take stock of I go through my contacts first or like my Facebook Messenger contacts, like
Mm-hmm.
anything, whoever I talk to, that's where I start by looking for my village. And then
Right.
step two of that would be evaluate your relationship with each person on this list of people you've taken. So, would you call them for help with your house? Would you call them for help with your baby? Would you call them if you just need to talk? Would you call them for mental illness? I have different people for
Mm-hmm.
different situations.
Okay.
Everybody is not it's not a one size fit all job for everything. So I
Mm-hmm.
do have different people for different situations, and I definitely evaluated, excuse me, how, like, if I needed a prompt person,
Mm-hmm.
if I knew somebody who's always on their phone or always have their phone in their hand, or if it's something I could wait, even simple as that of breaking up and identifying and evaluating your relationship with each person. There's a many different ways that you can do that. What would you say is the way you evaluate your relationship with each person on your stock of people?
So it really comes down to, for me, it really comes down to trust. So I mentioned
Mm-hmm.
before that I kind of have issues with control. I also have issues with anxiety. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why my mom works so well for me, because, like I said, she raised me, and so I pretty much know her. I know how
Right.
she gets down when pushed to the limit. I know how much she can
Mm-hmm.
take. I really know how far my kids can push her before things kind of escalate. And my kids, they don't really do that. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I know that she's not going to get frustrated by them being loud and kind of just snap on them. You know what I mean? It really is a build up for her to really even get kind of upset with them, because I always joke, when my firstborn was born, I don't even know the lady she is now. I know my mama is not the same lady she was when she was my mama. When my son was born, it's like almost like heaven open. Like I could see heaven open up from the time she looked at him till now. My oldest is 13, and she really took on a whole different light to me when he was born. And so I trust her above anybody else when it comes to the kids. I mean, she even has a copy of all of their, insurance, medical record stuff. So like if anything were to happen to me, she could immediately pick up, step in, and continue their lives on without missing a beat too much. So it really comes down to it really comes down to trust for me. So I can trust my mom. My brother, I can trust him for, shorter spurts of time. The middle one might, aggravate him a little bit more than the rest of them, just because he's 8 and it kind of gets weird. But really, like I said, it comes down to trust, and it comes down to, do I feel most in control of the situation? Because if I feel like I can't trust you to follow my instructions, and they're not major instructions, they're not these big, at 5 o'clock they have to do this, and at 6 o'clock they have to do that. It's not anything like that. But if I can't trust you to not feed them certain things that I don't really want them to eat, like for example, my daughter, she has a dairy allergy. If I can't trust you not to think that it's not real, or that, a goldfish is not going to hurt her, or like a spoonful of ice cream is not going to do anything. There are people out there like that. And if I can't trust that you can't understand that is a serious situation, then you can't be part of the village. And it's nothing against you personally. It's just, I can't trust you with my kids, period. So that's how I identify who can really sit with them and watch them. Now, there's an emergency list. The schools have you prepare, whatever. And so I've had to pick and choose people kind of in a pinch that I would, better they be with them than be alone type situation. But as far as I'm going on vacation, I'm going away for a few days, that's generally my mom or his mom or my partner's mom. Because she could step in at any time and kind of say, okay, whatever. Because I've seen her with her other grandchildren, and she really adores my kids. It's just we live a little further away from her, but she adores them. Yeah, she adores them. So she could definitely come by anytime and come, please, if you're watching this, come get these kids.
That's a sign. My village is in a different spot. So there's people in my village that I need for my mental health, that I might watch my kids. So you're still a part of my village, but not as a kid watcher, as a mental health, as a mental health type of person. So that's something I've had to evaluate. Okay, you are crap with kids. Cool. That is not the part of the village.
Not crap with kids.
You will not be. I'm not going to say no names, but he knows who he is. And if he watches this video, I love you. But like supervised watching, all day, nah. But I know if the chips are down and I have no talk to, somebody just to vent to, I know damn well I can call that number and talk to him, and he will get me straight.
And I think that's an important part, honestly. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I think that's an important part, honestly, to kind of separate it out, because really your village can be made up of certain people. Because you're right, I do have certain people on my team that could watch, like you. Okay, now if we lived in the same state, totally trust you to watch the kids. But clearly, you live somewhere else.
They'd be on your doorstep.
Right. I would drop them off immediately. Like, hey. But no, I think, but because you're so far away, it's easier
Mm-hmm.
to have you on my team for just friendship. There's no real dual situation. Clearly I
Right.
trust you enough. We trust each other enough to kind of come together and do this. And so
Mm-hmm.
there's a good amount of trust there, but you're far away. We have
Right.
another friend that's far away.
Mhm.
Totally trust her with the kids. Totally
I
trust her
got
with the
them.
kids. Girl, I would fly them kids to Alaska tomorrow. Immediately take these children.
Right. Agreed.
But because
She
she's
could
so far
definitely.
away, right, she's so far away, it's a bit more difficult. So it's okay to
Mhm.
not everybody that's there for you necessarily has to be there for your kids. And so I
Exactly.
think that's an important distinction to make, that
Mhm.
people can be as equally as close to you, but have different roles and different responsibilities in your life. As a mom, you really need that.
Exactly. And identifying that is the first step in getting that, to see what you need, what's missing. Identify, taking when you take stock of the people, identify and evaluate your relationship with each person, what you need from each person,
Mm-hmm.
and to give it to you. And then you can fill in the gaps of what else, now what's missing? What else do I need?
Mm-hmm.
And then for me, third step, see if they fit the qualities of a good village member.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So those are different for each person,
True.
but not even the qualities of a good village member, but for the role in your village that they're playing.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So are they a good listener?
Mm-hmm.
Then you have that they may be, like I said, crap with kids, but do you listen? But are they somebody who can listen to you and give you good advice? Will they give you advice that fits the qualities that you want as a person? Do they
Mm-hmm.
have the same morals and values? Not exactly the same, but something along a guideline that you wouldn't break. Will they give you advice within those guidelines that you have for yourself?
Right.
What do you think about that?
I think it's really important to sit there and think about you're right, the qualities that you do want in a village member. So when you're looking at caregivers, you really want to make sure that their morals line up to your morals. So they really need
Mm-hmm.
to be in agreement on child just safety in general. So they should
Mm-hmm.
have a basic overview of what to do if your baby or your child gets in an emergent situation. And it doesn't have to be, they don't have to be a doctor, nurse, or whatever, or be on that level. They just need to have a general kind of understanding of what to do in the event of an emergency. Honestly, they need to be somebody who doesn't panic, because they need to be able to jump in and take action. I'm not gonna play with you. Anyway, they really do. They need to be able to take action if your child is
Mm-hmm.
sick. Again, my daughter has a dairy and peanut allergy. Those are very
Mm-hmm.
serious health issues, right?
Right.
And so I can't have somebody who's going to be sitting there with her and her tongue swelling up and she's getting hives, and they don't know whether
Mm-hmm.
to give her the pen or give her the allergy medicine or to call
Or they
911,
figure out in the
and they're
corner.
stuck, right? They're
Mm-hmm.
stuck. And so that's another reason why my mom and my partner's mom fit the bill. My mom's a medical assistant, my partner's mom's a nurse. So I know if they have a hold of her, they're going to know what to do, and they're going to be able to jump on it. That's very important. They take car seat safety very seriously, both of them. It's very important they have their houses in a way where it's very difficult for the kids to get into stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The outlets are covered up, medications are put away, things like that. They have to be able to understand that children get into things and accidents happen. So for a caregiver,
Mm-hmm.
they really need to have a good understanding of children, how kind of kids, how their minds work, how they get into things, how they can prevent those
Mm-hmm.
things, and what to do.
Right.
Because honestly, even the best of us, our kids have accidents. Even with
Right.
us, they have accidents. But it's
Do
that
they?
fine line of was it an accident or were you just negligent? Did you just sit them in front of the TV, right, and kind of walk off?
Mm-hmm.
It's that kind of, you need to be able to know that this person knows what to do. And if they don't know what to do, another important thing is that they're not afraid to ask for help. That's a
Mm-hmm.
big one. You don't want somebody watching your kids that's prideful, that can't ask for help, that won't admit that they're a little bit in over their heads, because
Mm-hmm.
you need to know that. You need to know
Yeah.
so that you can talk them through a situation. I'd be more willing to let somebody who wasn't afraid to ask for help watch my child and maybe didn't know enough about kids, because they're going to ask all
Mm-hmm.
the questions and I can give them all the knowledge, than somebody who's kind of acting like they know everything and don't want to ask for help. That's a big,
Mm-hmm.
big red flag for me. Another one is that they listen to your concerns, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people like to think that parents overreact, and sometimes we do, especially
Right.
when it's your first child. Sometimes you do kind of get in over your head. Sometimes you do let the story scare you, and that's
Mm-hmm.
okay. But whoever's caring for your child needs to be able to take that very seriously.
Right.
Even if, even if they know, even if they're kind of a veteran in the kid game, like my mom, she knows, she raised two of us and she's helped raise
Right.
my cousins and stuff. So she knows what kids get into, but she took
Mm-hmm.
my concerns very seriously. And she was
Mm-hmm.
of the mind of, I'd rather do what you asked me to do and play it safe than not do what you asked me to do and something happened to your child. You want somebody that has that attitude. You don't want somebody who's just like, well, you're tripping. I'm going to do what I want anyway.
Mm-hmm.
With my oldest, I cut people off for doing that. There were people who
Exactly.
watched him and were a one and done situation
One and done.
because they didn't listen. They didn't take my concerns seriously. You want somebody also that's very empathetic.
Mm-hmm.
Empathetic in knowing that, and kind of knowing what new moms and stuff go through. As far as
Right.
caregivers go, you want them to be very empathetic, because as a new mom, you worry about everything. You really believe that your child is very fragile, when in reality, kids are pretty resilient. They can go through some things. As you'll find out later on in the journey, you'll find out that they can go through some things, but in the beginning, they're very fragile to you. And so you want somebody that takes that concern seriously. But in the role of a mental health village person, as somebody that's there for you to help support you, you really want them to know kind of what the red flags are, especially right after you've had a baby and within those first couple of years. It's very hard when you're taking care of a child and taking care of a house and taking care of things to recognize within yourself that there's a problem. You want somebody who's on the outside, that can look in and say, you know what? I've noticed that you've seemed very anxious lately, or you
Right.
seemed pretty down lately, or you seemed this or that lately. Can we talk about that? Why don't you let me know how you're feeling about that? What's going on with you, to kind of help bring to your attention that you haven't really been yourself lately, because sometimes you can get lost in caring for your kids. And so it's very
Right.
important to have people around you that will help you in the journey, not just with your kids, but with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to get too deep into anxiety and depression, because like I said in the previous episode, we're going to do a whole episode on that. But I
God,
mean, a whole series. We're going to do a whole
right.
series on that, where we're going to tackle all these things to kind of help bring to your attention what's going on. But at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, you want somebody who's going to know that you're not being yourself and not cut you off because you're not being yourself.
Right.
Right? Because when I had my son at 19, I pretty much lost touch with all my friends and didn't realize that's what I was doing. I have one
Yeah.
friend to this day, she's my best friend, and she lived across the state. She went to college. She's the same
Mm-hmm.
friend that's 2 years younger than me. She kept up with me. She
Mm-hmm.
really did. She, even through college, even being miles and miles away, she kept up with me so
Mm-hmm.
well. And we might not have been able to talk every day, and I might have been busy, but there were times I was flaky. Hell, I'm still flaky, honestly, if we're gonna be real. That's just who I am. I'm anxious, I have social anxiety. I'm getting better with it, but it's real. Like, her family thinks I'm fake, because like they think she made me up because I don't come to things. I've been to I was at her daughter's christening and I was at her wedding. I have not been to anything else. I'm her daughter's godmother, and I haven't been to anything else. And they joke that I made up because I don't come to things because I'm socially anxious.
I don't do
Um,
things.
but even through all that, even when I can't show up, like I love her to death, she's still there. You know, she's
Mm-hmm.
still there for me. She still loves me, you know, and I love her. And I tried to be there for her when she had her baby, when she got married, you know. And so it's a real struggle to find people who will love you that way, especially in an
Right.
age of, I feel like, self-preservation. Everybody is
Mm-hmm.
valuing self-preservation over
Mm-hmm.
everything else. And it's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, it's a good thing because clearly you should be putting yourself first. Clearly you should be cutting people out of your life that makes you feel bad. Clearly you should be doing all these things. But at the end of the day, we all go through our mental struggles. So it's very important to discern whether are they being shady, or are they
Mm-hmm.
really going through something? And if you don't take
Right.
the time to ask or say, hey, I've noticed you haven't done X, Y, and Z, or I've noticed that you haven't been showing up as much as you used to, or this or that, if you don't give them the opportunity to speak their truth, cutting them off prematurely is just detrimental to both of you. You lost a friend that you maybe could have had, um, because you assume that they just were being shady towards you. And
Mm-hmm.
your friend who's really going through something, you're another thing that they've lost in their life. You know, we're people, and people really need each other. So that's I'm sorry, I know I kind of got off the thing, but that's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
a good village member is. It's just somebody who can support you in the ways that you need to be supported. So whether that's as a caregiver to your child so you can get a break, or whether they're on kind of your mental health team,
Mm-hmm.
there are certain qualities that are very important, and those are it.
Right. I completely agree. You reminded me of a story of actually a friend put up on Facebook. We were friends in high school. We went to college together first semester before I had my son.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, put your name and I'll put what I think of you. And I was like, okay, whatever. I'll put my name because she's my friend.
Mm-hmm.
She went on to say, you had a baby and disappeared and you just left me. And then you had another baby and I didn't even know about it. And I'm just like,
Oh my God.
wait,
Whoa.
you're mad at me? First of
Slow
all,
down.
second of all, I was going through a domestic violence situation, pregnant,
Mm,
moving states, doing
right.
all kinds of stuff. Girl, I don't remember the last time you reached out to me either. And I never held it against you because life happens. Just
Right.
wasn't expecting somebody to hold it against me
Mm-hmm.
that I was going through life.
Right.
It's not like they checked up on me. So it's like, how am I supposed to know you even cared?
Right.
But
Right.
that's so it's like that kind of reaction. Those are not saying she's not a good person because she's a very good person. She's very intelligent. She's a beautiful woman. But that's the kind of thing you don't want in your village. You don't want
Right.
that kind of reaction from somebody because y'all do not talk. Now, my best friend Maya,
Mm-hmm.
we talked I think twice last year.
Mm-hmm.
Like nothing ever happened.
Right. Right.
It never misses a beat. Now we're making an effort to talk more because of life. Of course, we don't want to be that distant anymore. But it was just she was buying a house and getting a promotion and going through, and I'm
Right.
going through depression and anxiety and life and all kinds of stuff. But I know if I call her, I have no issue. I
Mm-hmm.
can tell her about everything. I can cry to her. I know if we lived in the same state, she would take my kids if need be, and I would take her daughter
Right.
if need be. I
Mm-hmm.
know that when push comes to shove at the end of the road, she's gonna be there.
Right. And I think that's really important to understand okay. So it's very, like I said, it's very important to differentiate when somebody's being shady and when life kind of gets in the way. I same thing. I had a friend, and we were friends all through high school, middle school,
Mm-hmm.
all through high school, all through everything. I had a baby right after I started working. I started going to school.
Mm-hmm.
I was in a relationship. Then I got pregnant. So all of these things happened to me in the span of about 6 months.
Right.
Right? 6 months. Within 6 months of graduating high school, I had a job, a full-time job, 40 hours a week, a full-time job.
Yeah.
Right. Going to
Mm-hmm.
school every night except Friday night. So 4 or 5 hours every night except Friday night.
Right.
On top of a brand new relationship, my first real love, my first real everything. And then by January, I was pregnant.
Right.
So life happened in a major way to me almost immediately after high school. Like I jumped right into being an adult almost immediately right after high school. And
Right.
the time that we talked was less and less, but every time we talked, it was we were picking back up where we left off.
Right.
And unfortunately for me, by the time she became a mom, we lost her, which is going to be a whole different situation, a whole different episode. But she was a victim of maternal death. So shortly
Oh.
after she had her son, she passed away. Well, within the time, so she had her son, and then a couple, like maybe a month and a half later, she passed away due to complications. And within that time, we lost another friend in a very tragic way. And I had to break that news to her because he ended up being somebody that was very close to her. I knew she was in the hospital with these complications, but then I also didn't want her to get on social media and find out that, right. And so it was very complicated in that last month that I was speaking with her. And it's something that I'm going through now to kind of forgive all the time in between that we lost, but we both knew it was just life. It was just a life situation. And we definitely vowed to reconnect once all the dust settled, once the Rona went away, once everything just kind of settled down. We were ready because we were finally on that same level. We were finally both moms together, and it was like, it's time. My nephew had just been born, so there were definite plans of me picking up my nephew because she lived in the same city as my brother, and us going to the park with the kids and me bringing my kids and all these things that we had plans to do. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. I keep up with her mom, but unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. But could you imagine if she really thought that I was being shady because my life just got in the way because we were just on different wavelengths? My other best friend, who's now she's trying to be a midwife, she had thought, she was 2 years younger than me. So the maturity that she had at the time to keep up with me was amazing. You know what I mean? Because when I left high school, essentially she was still a junior, I think. And so she really just had the foresight and the forethought to really just keep up with me. And I don't know where I'd be without, honestly, like without her friendship. I don't know where I'd be without her because for a long time, she was my only friend. You know, I had people that I was acquainted with on Facebook and this and that. All of our high school friends were all acquainted on Facebook, but she was my only friend. She was the only person that kept up with me. When she came back into town, we would go, we would have dinner together, and we would do this and wherever I wanted to go, because I didn't drive at the time, I was afraid to drive. She would take anywhere. Like, totally loved her for that, still do. Life just gets annoying. When you have kids, a lot of the times you forget to take care of yourself. You forget to keep up with the things that matter the most to you. And it's one reason why we do this is because we're trying to cut moms off at the pass. We're trying to get in front of an issue that a lot of us have, which is neglecting ourselves. And having a strong village is a big help in keeping you from neglecting yourself. Because even while you're neglecting yourself, you have a strong village, they're not neglecting you. They're coming in, right? They're coming in and helping you. I can't tell you how many times my mom has gone out and come home with something just for me. And had to tell the kids, no, this is for your mom. I bring you guys stuff back all the time. You guys are great. And next time I go out, I'm probably going to bring you something else. But today, for your mom, I'm going to give her this. And it's going to be okay. Because your mom deserves nice things too. Your mom deserves to have her favorite snack too. And no, you guys are going to stop and we're going to go in the other room and I'm going to fix you guys something else. Your mom deserves to eat her snack by herself too. Your mom deserves all the good things that she gives you too. And so if she can't give them to herself, basically, I'm going to give them to her. And so sometimes it's necessary for a while to have your village doing that for you. You know, showing up for you when it's necessary, showing up for you and doing for you what you can't do for yourself. That's why one of our mottos is, our sign off is really just treat yourself the way you treat your children. You deserve to be treated that way. You deserve nice things. You deserve to be loved. You deserve these things. Just because you're a mom, it didn't change any of that. Actually, it made the need for all of that way bigger than it's ever been before. So I went off on the thing. Go.
That's complete. Like, that's a tangent that you can definitely go off on because it ties into the subject of friendship and villages and all that. It's just, that's sometimes it's all you need is somebody to look at you and be like, I got you.
Mm-hmm.
I got you.
To tell you you're not okay. No, you're not okay in this minute, but that's okay.
Right. Like my best guy friend.
We're so goofy.
So don't do this next time. So one of my other best guy friends, one day he was like, let's hang out. And I was like, no, because one, I was going through a depressive episode, so my house was a train wreck.
Mm-hmm.
Kids were running around. I was losing my stuff. So he came over anyway, took one look at my face, and he was like, go sit down. And he cleaned my entire house.
Oh my God.
And he cleaned my house. And he was like, all right, I'll see you later. And then that was it.
That's amazing.
And I was just like, excuse me, like, shut me up real quick. Because
are y'all brides listening? I know y'all watching this. How come y'all ain't never came to clean my house?
You know, he, like, just like sometimes you just need somebody, but he's not the type to take no for an answer.
Right.
He's not like my mom. If I'll be like, no, I don't want help, my mom will be like, okay, well, call me if you do. Or she'll be like, okay, well, you need help today. Like, she'll say it more like this. He'll be like, no, sit down, go somewhere.
Guy friends can be the best friends when they're genuine.
Right. He's another video.
And then we'll talk about him another video. But guy friends they can be amazing when men in general. I know men get a lot of flack, and a lot of it's deserved, but men can be, when they're genuine, when they're real, when they're really in touch with what's going on, they can be the most amazing creatures.
So I know this video had a lot of information, but to sum it up, to identify your village, 3 steps. Take stock of the people around you, evaluate each person in each relationship, and see if they fit the qualities of a good village member and whatever that means to you. So everybody's not going to have the same qualities. So do they have the qualities that you want in a person, that you want to instill in your family and your children? Thank you for watching our video. We'd love to hear your opinions about today's episode in the comments below. If you want to stay up to date on all things Lit Mamas or join a supportive community of mothers, click the link below to join our Facebook group and sign up for our email list. Until next time, take care of yourselves as well as you take care of your children. You deserve it.
Bye.